Oh shit. Okay, you guys are gonna get tired of me tonight because I'm going on some rants. Okay. No, I'm going on rants tonight. So, I follow this YouTuber. I can't even remember. I was just watching her video, and I'll put a link to the video in the description box. But she was talking about she was explaining stuff about Desi culture. Now, I really don't know because like I personally don't have like really any Indian friends, or I mean I guess I kind of was talking to some Indian guys, but I think I'm gonna stop talking to them too. So I really don't know. I don't like, I've had not a lot, I've worked with some Indian people on teams, like in jobs, but it was honestly weird. And I think she kind of started to touch on this in the video, where it's like people really think that shit like education is gonna fix other shit in society, like you can just code your way out of racism or something, which is why people are confused about why there's these like homogenous teams. And I don't know how many like I've talked to kind of a lot of like upper class Black people who, you know, when they were younger and they were working on other teams, they just had like weird Asian managers who would just say really derogatory shit. They were showing me videos of what these people were saying, and it was just like like I'm telling these people come, these immigrants, bro, they be coming, they get like a little bit of power, and all they're doing is like exercising the same vitriol that they experienced in wherever they came from, and then bringing it here and then exerting that same power over someone else. And if you don't know, like marginalized groups in America are primarily like Black and like Black American. So they're just putting this shit on groups that I fall into, which obviously like I'm not okay with. And like not only am I like not okay with it, but like I refuse to like participate in it or just be accepting of it or quiet, which is what you like. Maybe you don't see this because a lot of you guys haven't been in spaces and rooms that like I have, but a lot of other people are quiet about it, and a lot of other people really find it intriguing when you don't fall into their mental model of like what they know about the world and what they know about your culture, which is typically nothing. And they have their own how can you put it, yeah, their own models and their own like stories and shit that they tell themselves about how they got to where they are. And I was watching a video by Julesy the other day that talked about the problem with immigrants, Black immigrants. And she was basically saying that like in a lot of countries, specifically like Nigeria, because when people are immigrating to America from Nigeria, they aren't doing it as refugees. They're doing it as like intellectual capital, because it is a requirement to immigrate that you have to have a certain level of education. Okay, so this makes sense. Now we have like, you know, a larger and larger group of educated, you know, people who are coming over who can fill skilled labor shortages that we have in the country. But it doesn't necessarily change the fact that they are like immigrating from somewhere, and where they are immigrating from, they're choosing to do that because that place has problems. And so for whatever reason, and for whatever reasons, they were able to get skills and education and opportunity. There are a lot of people in those same places who were not. And this, to me, is the really huge problem that I have with these like class of educated immigrants. And I've been saying this for a while as I push back to the like immigrants are special story, and how, you know, they all want to come and be like they built the country and they built everything here, and this is why they're so extra special. Because let's be honest, like if you were so special and you were so great, why couldn't you thrive where you were? Right? Like I'm sure there's a bunch of special Ukrainians too. Why can't they thrive where they are? Oh, maybe it's because Putin is bombing the shit out of them. In the same way that in America, white Americans burned down every space that Black Americans occupied, and any people of color. And none of you were here to fight that fight, right? So all those special Ukrainians right now, this is a very good parallel. And really this parallel goes back to anywhere else. This is the problem that I have with America in a very serious way. Everyone wants to have stories about how now there are civil rights and opportunity for everyone. But these are opportunities that they did not fight or die for, and no one in their land or lineage or story has ever fought or died for them. And honestly, if you are being very serious about their character and in level of integrity, what they are, and I'm not trying to be mean, but they're wimps, because what they did was just run away from the problems that they had. They didn't solve the problems, and a lot of them didn't even make it better for the other people. They ran away from the problems that they had, leaving other people behind, and just ran to a more fruitful land. Well, shit, anybody could do that. Black Americans could have did that too. We could have just ran back to Africa, but we didn't do that. Like, everybody literally was like, we are here and we have to fight to live. And a lot of people died. This is the part where I think nobody ever wants to talk about, like, what it takes to be a winner and who's really a winner. Go talk to, like, those World War II vets, the people who fought the fight, right? What does it look like to really have to fight a war? People have, like, lost arms. They have, like, one eye. They've lost fingers, okay? This is what I'm talking about. People need to have a lot more respect for people who have just survived growing up in poverty and in the ghettos, because, like, it's war every day. Every single day. And those people are living. Those people are the real heroes. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but the fact is, especially to have an immigrant, especially, like, I'm not even being funny, but, like, someone coming from, like, India here, to have that sort of critique is pathetic in so many ways, because it's like, what you did was flee. You left. You abandoned the problem that you had because of political this, political that, your opinions on this, your opinions on that. Oh, it was too hard. It was too hard. It was too hard. What do people think happened in America? Do they think it was easy? Like, really? I think all of these, like, engineers couldn't hold a candle to the KKK. Everyone can say what they want, reading their little stories in, like, locked dorms, eating beans and shit. It's like, you try fighting the KKK. Because they would have burned down your saris and your Kim Kardashian trash all day. Like, those things would not be possible. Like, okay? Like, I think everybody's kind of missing it. You're not getting it. Like, and it's just, it just eats at me. It eats at me in ways that are, like, probably not healthy. And, like, I just do not see the world in the same way that they see it. I appreciate so much, you know, people like Kanye West, who really are just able to, like, stand at this point, because, I mean, I shouldn't even say that. It's not, like, just him. I don't want to paint him as, like, a monolith, but, like, I think a lot of people just aren't familiar with, like, the people who have been here. The people who have been here, like, just how much they've overcome to make this country what it is, and how few people have been able to thrive from that. And not in a funny way, in, like, a very honest, very, like, real way. And I think, like, I was reading something yesterday that was talking about some yoga studio owner in downtown Berkeley. He owns some person. He had a yoga teacher, and this yoga teacher, she's like a white woman, but she was in a relationship with a guy who owns this platform that's like an anti-Semitic platform. It was basically he produces this content that's like anti-Jewish. Like, I don't know. Personally, I think hate is just not useful in any ways, but I think critique is useful. So, like, I'm very critical of Jews who claim that the Holocaust was awful but don't believe in reparations. Bernie Sanders. It's like, I don't think that the Holocaust was worse than slavery. Hate me. I don't think that it was. And honestly, the Holocaust had nothing to do with America, so I don't even know why we're having this conversation on American soil. Right? Take it to Germany. Not even in a funny way, but in the same way that, like, Russia and Ukraine, European problems, Jews, Nazis, white people problems. This is not like, I'm not gonna say like, okay, there were black Jews, but I'm just not really sure that the Holocaust was a problem that was affecting Ethiopians in Africa. Like, it's not falling in my realm of understanding, but don't get me wrong, I could probably do with a history lesson. I don't want to claim to be the most knowledgeable person about all the things, but like, if we can't have an honest conversation about that, and the fact that like Jews have gotten American dollars in reparations. America never burned any Jews. So American chattel slavery is a real thing that happened in America, where black Americans should be getting reparations. And the fact that that is still up for debate, and that there are real people alive right now, specifically Jews, who can really honestly say out of their human mouths, like, I don't think that should be a thing. Well, I don't think we should take the conversation further. I think everybody should continue going in their lives of bullshit, and we should just realize that wars are going to continue happening. They're happening all the time. The famines are going to keep happening. And really, I want to go back for a second because I started talking about that video that came out about the girl. Okay, so there's a girl who made a video about the Desi inferiority complex. I think that's what she called it. Now, she was talking about how there's these two beauty influencers. Okay, so these two beauty influencers, they start attacking virtually a girl, some other girl, and the other girl is a Desi girl. Now the shit that they were saying sounds like typical mean girl shit, where they were like, oh, you know, like, you're such a whore, blah blah blah. But then they started talking about like how her father is like a taxi driver, and how her father should like roll them around in Ubers or something. So they started bringing in class shit, and that's where, to me, it starts to get a little bit racist. But even to go like a little bit deeper than this, like, these, to me, I saw the women, I just saw their pictures because she put like their photos in the video, right? So to me, these are Kim Kardashian wannabes. Like, they literally followed the playbook on how to be a biracial black girl. They got the tans, they had the makeup. These bitches want to be black like everybody else, okay? And the fact that they were just coming at, it's like, to me, none of it makes any sense, because like what they're doing by doing that, like, all of the girls who are following the Kim Kardashian aesthetic are also by way of like what the honest story is, playing into the same narrative. Like, we cannot forget, like, Kim Kardashian started as, first of all, Paris Hilton's assistant, and then made her way through all of the celebrities in black culture. Football players, basketball players, entertainers, rappers, all of them. Then she put out a sex tape with Ray J and blasted it all over the internet. And that's who these girls want to be. They are literally mimicking her. Don't get me wrong, because she's done a lot of like really awesome stuff. I think Kim Kardashian has incredible fashion sense. I think Kim Kardashian is a great mother. Kim Kardashian is an attorney, okay? Kim Kardashian's father was an attorney. All of those things are also true. But when we're talking about like her and her character and the sort of like what her history like actually is, those things are a part of her history too. And almost the way that these women were talking was as if like the exact thing that they stand for wasn't in direct contradiction to the vitriol that they were spitting at this other woman. It's like they're calling they're calling the other girl a whore while they dress and put on makeup like whores. They were attacking this woman every day online. The girl was like crying. She was like, my mother had died and I was being attacked every day. It was just like, I don't know. This is the same thing. Okay, I don't want to say the same thing happened with me, but I work with a girl, Halama. I think her name was Halima, but she was also some Iranian, some sort of, I don't know, some brown girl. I don't know where the fuck she's from. I don't really care. But it got really, really immediately. It was like drama, and not because like I did something to her. She was like trying to call me dirty, and I was just like, so we were working at this store, right? In the store, there were literally roaches like walking on the floor. Like the first day I got there, I killed 4 roaches. And I took out moldy macaroni from the microwave. This is the first day that I started working at the store. So I literally had to like take the trash out. I had to like, I started sweeping. I was like really trying to make it better because like, yeah, when you start to get insects, like obviously that's a problem. So to like come in and then start to complain about a cleaning problem that was there since you started, it to me it was just like incredible. It was just like I've never heard. Not the point. I think that a lot of that beef problem, whatever, it really stems from like internal racism or whatever issue that she has with like girls like me, even though I like just met this person. And I feel like I keep seeing this as a pattern, like, and this is where I really feel like we need to become clear, because on one hand, I think there are like these populations of immigrants who really feel like they are coming and they are going to like take the country because they are running from the shit that's happening wherever they are. Like if it's so awesome in Pakistan or Dubai or wherever the fuck else it is that you're from, you would stay there. Right? Like if y'all were so anti-black, stop listening to black music. Just stop. Just be like, you know what? We don't like, because like honestly, like if I'm gonna be like, I don't like Latinos, you're not gonna see me like bumping Maluma songs and trying to dance like Shakira, right? But I mean, I don't hate Latinos, but I'm just saying, like, if that were the case, it doesn't go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? So some parts of it are weird because like you can't like hate someone and then try to be them at the same time. That doesn't really make any sense. It's like backwards. It's like that's a certain type of hate. It's like you hate me so much that you like doing the shit that I do. Like time out. I like you. Talk to people who I hate. I be trying to like distance myself, like move away, figure out where they're going so I don't go. You know what I'm saying? Like all type of, that's the type of shit that I do. I certainly don't like, I don't know. Maybe that's also just like a really petty thing around like women. It's honestly kind of really women and men. Like, why would you spend the time focusing on someone that you don't like? Like, what's the point in spending the time focusing on someone that you don't like? For whatever reason. If you think someone is ugly, okay, don't focus on them. If you think someone is poor, okay, don't focus on them. If you think someone is stupid, great, don't talk to them. It's just weird though, because like, for all the things that people claim that they hate, they keep running toward it. Right? It's like the weird Europeans who are making those news outlets and they're like, yo, please feel empathy for the people dying because they're white and blue-eyed and white and blonde-haired. This is why I want you to feel the empathy. But if there was something else, we are accustomed to seeing those other people die, so don't feel anything. Well, then it's like, well, then why are you here? You know there's like black people in the United States and in Canada, right? If you care that much about the Ukrainians who are dying, you could just go to Ukraine and hold up a sign because the people that you're trying to save are there. Why come here to tout that bullshit here? I don't get it. I don't understand. And it's almost like a weird rat race to like fix the opinion of the television, because the television, we already know, it doesn't represent the people. Like me, probably you either. We aren't represented there. So what is the point of continuing to look to those media outlets for, I don't know, it's very strange. It's very strange. There's also something, okay, the last point that I did want to make tonight is about at the Black Futures lunch. There's I believe he's a football player, Antonio Brown, who was sitting next to Kanye West, and Kanye West made a statement about someone trying to offer Antonio Brown $200,000 to go to check himself into a psychiatric ward, and him turning down the money so that he would not have a label on himself that he was in a psychiatric ward. I would just like to comment on that for a second, just because, man, I don't think people understand what it means when you say like water is wet, or like words mean things, or like the human experience is complex. Like, I'm not sure who recommended that Antonio Brown check himself into a psychiatric ward, but what I think that person was trying to hint at is that Antonio Brown might be struggling with his mental health, and it might be useful for him to enter a rehabilitation program of some sort. They have rehabilitation centers, which are kind of like psychiatric wards, but they're more mediated programs. Like, there's levels to psychiatric wards. There's like public hospitals, but then with private institutions, it's kind of like a retreat. I've been to both, so this is how I know. But either way, Antonio Brown, it feels like with whatever his situation is, what he probably needs is therapy, most likely like talk therapy, to actually address what is, because like it seems like something is happening, but he's not even able to communicate yet what is happening with himself. So that would be like the first step. And whoever recommended that to him, because I don't know who it was or what, but some shit is like publicity stunts, because like most people in the public are just they're kind of like retarded in a lot of ways. Like, there's so many people who have been to psychiatric institutions. Like 50% of the Hollywood actresses have been. Drew Barrymore, Paris Hilton, so many have been. I'm not sure like I don't know. And the weird part is like these Angelina Jolie, like so many people. There's a whole movie. Maybe I'll do like a really serious unpacking of the movie Girl Interrupted, and how that movie has impacted me and my life, and like what it means for me to have seen that film and been able to like understand my own growth and adverse experiences by watching that film on a screen. But that is for another day. My point though being, I think that some people are under the impression that institutionalization or going into a rehabilitation program, a psychiatric institution, has something to do with how do I want to say this? Mental retardation and intellectual ability, like ability to critically process, or even some other ability to like use some of your cognitive functions or some other functions like disability is real, right? So you can have a physical disability where you're like unable to walk, you're unable to see, you're unable to hear, you're unable to speak. Those are all like disabilities. You could have a mental disability where you're unable to like think. You could have like social immobility maybe, or like PTSD. Sometimes people have PTSD that's so heavy that it debilitates them from being able to like function in a regular society. You could also have like, I don't think being an introvert is like a social disorder in the same way that like, you know, schizophrenia or whatever bipolar disorders are, which I personally, I have a lot of these like mental disorders I personally just have an issue with, because they don't take into account the full human experience, and it tries to like classify what civil society is and what it means to like not conform to civil society. Except and this is actually played out in some of those interviews on Ukraine, and people having opinions about why other white, trying to pander to white Americans and get them to empathize with white Ukrainians, saying we are European, we are civilized, therefore to have war in civilized Europe is obscene. Well, European colonization is global, and it was brutal, and nothing about it was like funny, and it's well documented, and nothing about that is civilized. So to like use those terms synonymously, that should be its own delusion. I think somebody should put that in the mental retardation playbook, like the white forgetful complex, where, you know, it's white people who forget what colonialism is and how it works and how vile and violent it is. Because for some reason we don't affiliate that. Also, if we want to be very serious, like, we can turn on the television and the news right now and witness white people being extremely violent and hazardous to humanity right now, play by play. So to every white suburban mother who believes in school segregation and the violence, the innate criminality of Black youth, may we also side by side put another picture of white youth being just as criminal, okay? Bombing whole countries. And this has nothing to do with Black people. There's not a Black person in the story, except the ones who tried to flee the bombing and were not allowed to get on the bus. We've documented that too. It's called Rosa Parks. See how we've seen this all before? The same shit just keeps happening. And there are people who aren't even in the books at all, because supposedly there were like Mexicans and Indians too who tried to get on the bus to leave Ukraine. Those students were not able to get on the bus either. Unfortunately, they are not even included in the narrative, because the narrative about America is Black and white. So here we are. Where was I going with this? Oh, so I wonder, and not in a joking way, but I wonder what people believe about, like, if people believe that the people who are going into institutions, like mental institutions, for whatever mental instability that they are facing, which makes them unable to function in society, when people, especially like in a town like Berkeley or San Francisco or New York, what's another good one? Portland, Seattle. These are just places that like I've been, so I've seen it firsthand. There are literal homeless, crazy people who are out every day. Every day. They are not in an institution, in any institution at all. They're just outside. There's the woman who sits outside of my apartment building, kicking a can and searching for shit in the trash can. Now, I know for sure that people in the community are aware and familiar with who she is and what her story is, because I see police officers talking to her all the time. She has a name. I don't know if it's because she's white that they don't institutionalize her or someone get help for her, but she does this. There are other ones who sleep in like the tents, you know, they've got whole ecosystems. I mean, these people are just here. They talk to walls, they pander in front of Walgreens, they sleep at People's Park. They're just all of these things, and this is normalized. Have you not walked through the Tenderloin? I mean, these tents have addresses now. They've got pillows and blankets. Just all of these things are happening. They're not made up. Like, it's some of the time, you know, I've kind of brought a camera and kind of recorded it a little bit, but also I just didn't even really want to bring like attention to myself, because maybe those people don't want to be on camera telling that story. You know, that's not really a positive story to tell. Maybe there are parts of it that they haven't been able to unpack for themselves, so it's not really in a place where there's a story that could come out of this, right? And that too is an issue. I don't know. I think that this society is really like, I worry. I guess that's my point. I really worry. And I worry because it's not really getting better. And I guess I'm not like expecting it to get better. But I think in the past I was expecting it to get better. And I'm glad because there are outlets like YouTube where regular civilians can come on and just share stories about what's going on in their lives. But I know for myself in the past, I felt like that wasn't useful because there's too much context that was lacking. And for me, I needed more time to go on in order for society to change, in order for there to be more examples which would actualize my own story. That's a very strange, layered thing to say, but that's the only way that I can explain it. Because like, if I were to tell parts of my story at the time, in the real time that it was happening, it just wouldn't make any sense. And like, I also don't feel like my personal story is up for public consumption. Like, I don't like that. Like, I don't want to feel like my entire life, every aspect of it, is here to be shared and consumed. But there are certain parts of it that I feel open to sharing now because I've had quite a lot of time to unpack it and like understand it and deal with my personal feelings around, you know, what was happening in the past, what is happening now, and how I feel about it. You know, things that I'm able to do, things that I want to do and not. And all of that for me has been quite a learning experience. And I would also say, I know I've gone on quite a lot of tangents in this rant, but this is called unscripted, right? I feel like I'm like inside the actor's studio. Maybe one day I will really get into acting because I think I could do a lot of good. I appreciate so much seeing people, humans, girls, black girls like Kelly Stamps get on screen and be an introverted asshole, a privileged introverted asshole every day on the camera, because I see myself. And I see a lot of other black girls who have a similar sentiment, but maybe not enough confidence to live out that truth. And hopefully people will now do that because they see her doing it. I also wanted to shit. Actualize for a minute. I wanted to explain something. So if you can see these French braids, they look all new, and then these ones look all old and dusty. Well, I do my hair myself, right? So I don't hire anyone to do it. I do it myself. And the reason that I do it is because it's affordable that way, and it lasts for a very long time. Like, I've had this hairstyle for 2 weeks, and really I can just get up and go. And when I take a shower at night, I just put some conditioner in it, and then I wash it out. So my hair maintains moisture, and it's a super like a protective style, but it's also just extremely convenient. So all of that is happening at the same time. This is a lazy black girl hack. Maybe I'll make a video where I show you, where I just say like braid your hair with me. It did take me a while, I guess, to learn how to do it, but it's more about the parting. So I just like, you know, part one at a time, and then I have like, I'll show you guys how I do it. If you actually want to see it, maybe just request it, but it's definitely a skill that's useful for learning, because once you learn how to do your own hair, I mean, it's a hairstyle I could actually wear 365 days of the year, wherever I choose to go. Like, I could travel internationally and sport this hairstyle and it'd be fine. You don't need a mirror, nothing. You can just, a little bit of water goes quite a long way. So, all right.